There's one story that I looked into, gosh, I want to say like a year and a half ago now, and it's always stuck with me as one of the most incredible cases, and that's the Colares, Brazil incident in 1977. Are you familiar with it?
Oh my God, I don't. And this is exciting.
Great.
Okay,
Great.
this is
Okay.
great. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm in. I'm
So
in.
it's one of my favorite cases right next to the Phoenix Lights. But this one,
I love the Phoenix Lights. Oh, that's the
it's so
first
good.
vetted deep dive I'm doing for June, where I'm involving the entire vetted community to do research for a month, gather it all, and I'm going to make a video at the end. And we're going to try to do that every month. And the Phoenix Lights is the first case we're going to address. So, right, isn't that exciting? So, yes, I'm with you. So, this is your number two. This is
This is
exciting.
like my number
Wow.
1.5. Like it
Wow.
shares the spot. Yeah, because it's
Holy cow.
really insane.
Okay. I can't wait to hear this. Awesome.
Okay. So it took place in this very small fishing town just right off the coast of Brazil. And what happened was Colares, it encountered a UFO flap, meaning that it was a UFO sighting that took place more than once, more than one day. It was actually 6 months long. 6 months long.
What?
And it was
What?
happening every single night between 6 and 8 or 9 p.m. And this is a very, again, a small fishing town, very Catholic. And what happened was every single night for 6 months, UFOs were practically harassing the people. Let me explain, because we don't hear cases like this that often. UFOs were being seen at night, and they would shoot this beam of light on the people, and it would create puncture wounds on the chest, on the thighs, near the thyroid area. So much so, it was so significant that the people ended up nicknaming these craft called chupa chupa, which just means sucker, because
Yeah.
they felt like the blood was being taken out of their body, a portion of it.
Oh my
Consistently, crafts were
God.
being seen. There were people being harassed. 2 people died because of it. There were paralysis when when this light was beamed on them. It was so
Shit.
significant that the mayor of that small town called the capital, Brasilia, and said, send me all of your military, send me everything, all of your weapons. You got to protect my people. This is all documented information, all of
Wow.
it.
What year is this? You said 1978?
1977.
Oh,
1977.
77. Got it. Got it.
Right.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the military come in, they occupy this small town, but instead of bringing tanks and guns and all of these weapons, they brought paper, pens, telescopes, cameras. They were there to document it, and it ended up being called Operação Plato, or
Okay.
Operation Saucer, aka Operation Plate, run
Sure.
by the captain Urangue Lima. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because after they've been documenting this for a few months, they're writing all this down, they're interviewing witnesses, they're taking pictures, they're doing drawings. A lot of this information is public through FOIA that came out in the early 2000s. You can find it on the Black Vault as well. And so,
Wow.
years later, almost 20 years later, Captain Urangue Lima, the captain, the chief of the operation, comes forward and tells a story to a UFO magazine in Brazil 20 years later, right after he retired. And he tells the whole story to the world of what happened, of the things that his men experienced, that the fishermen experienced, and that he experienced. And according to his account,
Mhm.
that is documented, there's an interview that you can find. If you can find it, it's there. And he mentions that one night when he was in that small town, he was ready to go to bed, and this small figure hugged him from behind and spoke to him in a more robotic Portuguese that says, "Don't worry, I'm not going to harm you." After this tiny little person is hugging this guy from behind, obviously, Captain Arangue Lima is freaking out. He has a military background. He's ready to shoot this thing right in the head. And but he was paralyzed. He wasn't able to move from this. And
Oof.
then this entity leaves. But it was getting so intense for these people that they were sleeping all in the same house. They wouldn't walk alone at night. They were always together. But these beams of light would shoot through the roofs, through the walls, through the windows. Nobody was safe. Now, to my understanding, no one was abducted, but a lot of them did have puncture wounds. And as I had mentioned a little bit earlier, two had died. Let me explain that. And and I cannot emphasize this enough. This is all documented information. So there was
Sure.
one doctor there that was staying in that town to help just in general, not because of the situation, but she just happened to live there.
Got
And
it.
she was getting all of these people telling her their encounters of seeing craft in the sky, getting paralyzed, having these puncture wounds,
Wow.
and all these other kind of weird ailments in the body. She didn't believe them. She says, "What are you guys talking about? This is mass hallucination. I've studied this my whole life. Like, you don't know what you're talking about." Then one night she goes out and she encounters it for herself. She sees her own craft. She saw this beam of light, and it gets insane. The
Wow.
military come into her office and say, "You are going to tell everyone that this is mass hysteria. This is mass hallucination. And I want all of your documents. I want all of your paperwork." By that time, she said, "I already had my encounter. You're lying to everyone here." But if the military had come just a few months prior, she would have believed them. But at that
Sure.
point, after her own experience, she said, "No, this is the real deal." And
God.
then it turns out that these two older people that had this paralysis when this beam of light came over them, they were almost in this stage of rigor mortis. They weren't able to like loosen up their arms or anything. They were very
Okay.
quickly taken to the nearest hospital, and both of them passed away soon after. When the doctor had
Oh
asked
my
for the medical
God.
records from that hospital to get an understanding of what happened to those people, how
They were
did they
lost.
pass away, she
It got
wasn't able to
lost.
get them. They became classified.
Of course.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so when
Wow.
we're looking at all of that information, a 6-month flap, okay, thousands of witnesses. There's about, I want to say like 4,000 witness testimonies or so. Only half of those have been made
What?
public.
My
Same with the
God.
pictures. No videos have been made public,
W-
but some of the photos, some of the drawings, and the witness testimony and that interview by Urange Lima, you can find all of that information that goes into more detail on this case. But what we're looking at here is something so profound that we just hardly ever hear, where these craft, these entities, whatever they might be, are actually harassing people. And so that's why in my book, it's just one of those more profound cases that I have encountered. And I just can't shake off the story.
Wow. So like a year and a half ago, you didn't know about it. You
No,
just you just found, yeah. I mean,
it's not a
how am I
popular
just
story.
hearing about that? Yeah, this is crazy.
Exactly.
How I haven't heard about this.